So you know what I love about doing a Christmas episode right now?
What?
You're preparing for yourself? We have yet to celebrate Christmas because it's next week. And next week we're going to record our New Year's episode. But when we record our New Year's episode, we'll have still not yet celebrated Christmas.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Deanna. And we're
The Halfwit Sisters. All right. We could kick it off by saying Merry Christmas, since this episode is technically going to be airing next
On
week.
Christmas.
Oh, literally on Christmas.
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays, or whatever it is that you celebrate.
Yep. I hope your day is a lot of fun today and you're able to spend it with at least someone.
Somebody that means something to you.
Yeah. I know this holiday season's a lot different than previous ones
Yes.
for everybody.
Everyone.
But
Yes.
wishing you all the best.
All the best. All the best. And a safe
Yes.
holiday. Practice what you need to in order to stay safe. Speaking of which, at work today, so I work with a bunch of kids, and everybody wears masks. We're all very safe. All very safe. Like, we wipe down everything. We have, like, if a kid so much as touch their mask and, like, our boss sees it, everybody ends up going and getting like hand sanitizer. This kid comes into the check-in, comes into the check-in, and he sneezes. And the workers at the front just freaking scatter. He just goes, he goes, right? He just took off in different directions. And just come back up through. And most of them are much younger than I am. And I come back over and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we can't be spending 2 weeks quarantine. I was like, no, I mean, fair, but come on, making the kid feel like he has rabies or something. Jeez.
That's definitely not how you handle that.
Yeah. So that reminds me of, like, the early days of the pandemic when people were, like, super, super, super freaking serious about it. And, like, so much of somebody, like, cough or sneeze, like, everybody's like,
a lot of people are still like that now too, which is fair.
Yeah, I feel like, though, like, a lot of people are having kind of that fatigue set in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But hey, the
vaccine
is finally out.
Yeah, I know the first person I think got it this week. First public person, I should say, because obviously there have been trials for the vaccine, and people have taken them through the trials.
Yeah. I'm just flabbergasted by the amount of people that are like, we should do it on TV. So, yeah. All right. Wow.
Anyway, roll intro.
Happy holidays.
And welcome back to the Halfwit Sisters.
So this episode we've decided to talk about some of our most memorable Christmas memories and some of our favorite Christmas flicks.
Yep.
Quick recap on our last episode, which was just kind of like the beginning of it was just a mess. An absolute mess.
I hope someone got an amusement out of it. I did.
We did like a 10-minute random word generator, and then we did recommendations for books, movies,
and games.
Right. And games. So that's out. Here's the pop-up. If you want to go check that out, please do. At least for the book recommendations and TV movie recommendations. And if you just want to see what weirdness happens with the word generator, sure. And I will tell you this, DJ absolutely failed in the phrases section of the whole thing. All right. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Favorite memories of ours from childhood of like Christmas. It was definitely different. Ours were definitely different because, growing up in the military.
Yeah. I can think of 2 times that just off my top of my head, I still remember to this day. The first one, maybe you'll remember this, maybe you won't, was a year that both of these stories have to do with years that we weren't going to have Christmas trees. This particular year we were kids, and I want to say it was on Guam, but it might have been before that, but I know we were really young, and I was sad because we didn't have a Christmas tree, and I didn't think Santa would be able to come visit us because we didn't have a tree. And we woke up in the morning, and there was this cutout of a tree that we had for some event where you throw the bean bags through the holes. And it was set up near the door. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay. But it was set up near the door and the presents were under there. And that's all I really remember from that Christmas. I don't remember what gifts we got or anything like that, but I just remember waking up and seeing that makeshift tree.
Yeah.
And just being so happy about it.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the memories I was going to talk on, too. So clearly it was memorable for both of us. I want to say that was also, around the time that a typhoon had just hit. And this was on Guam, for those that were wondering, where did this take place? This, for us, was on Guam. Let's set the setting. Guam. And I believe a typhoon had just ran through and wrecked the island. It was around that time. I want to say it was around that time. And that's actually one of the reasons why we didn't have a Christmas tree that year, is because there was a whole bunch of... Is the kid screaming again?
No, it's this guy just laying on the horn.
Welcome to New York City.
Swear to fucking God.
So I want to say that was around this. It kind of gets weird. We were on Guam for 2 typhoons. One of the most memorable ones for us was Typhoon Paka,
which was a huge one.
Yeah, and I want to say that was when we could Google search actually 1990s typhoons and when they hit Google when they hit Guam. And that would tell us, whether or not...
Typhoon Paka hit in 97.
97 when, though?
November.
Yeah, so I want to say it was around that time. That's the reason why we didn't have a tree. Because a lot of our stuff had gotten wrecked, and a lot of other people's stuff had gotten wrecked. So yes, we were oh, we're not going to have a tree this year. We were all sad. And then we come out and our parents absolutely had us convinced no, nobody knew how that tree had gotten there. We didn't even know where the freak it had come from.
It must have been one of Mom's things, because Mom was involved in a lot of stuff.
She was the ombudsman for some of the Navy. there that the spouse, like a spouse, could
Yeah.
be the ombudsman for. So yeah.
I did find out, and I'll tell this story later about the Christmas drop. And I'll tell it later because it refers to a movie. So while we're doing the Christmas movie recommendations, but I will come back to that.
All right. So yeah. So definitely that was one of our more memorable ones. What's another one?
The other one is when we were in Texas, and you had already moved out at this point.
Okay.
And again, we weren't going to have a tree. We were all adults, so it was just like not a huge deal to our parents. But it was like the first time that we weren't going to have a tree, as you were gone, you were out doing your thing. And I was sad about that. And I told Mom. And Mom told Dad.
Is this when you guys lived in Connecticut?
No, this is in Texas.
I've never moved out when they lived here in Texas.
You were out.
Keep going.
Well, she tries to remember what I'm talking about. I was just sad about that. And Dad apparently had gone out in the morning and bought a tiny little, like, this big real Christmas tree. And it was our first ever real tree. It's the first one I had ever gotten, and it was small, but it was probably the best Christmas tree I've ever had.
What hell year was this?
It was in Texas.
I don't remember. I don't ever remember
You weren't
not
there.
living. I don't ever remember not living at home.
You did.
This must have been like one of those small stints of time. You know what it was? It was probably when I was living with the Gilbos. Okay. So small thing here. I was working 3 jobs at the time. I think this was a year that I was working 3 jobs at the time, and I'd moved out for a short amount of time so that I could go to work and go to school at the exact same time. And the only close place that I could stay at were some friends of mine, which were the Gilbos. And so I lived with them for the month of December. So I think that's what you're referring to.
Probably.
So I didn't move out. I left to live somewhere close because it was the only place that I could stay at that was between all 3 jobs that I was working and the school that I was going to, which had no winter breaks, by the way. So yes.
But yeah, so it was that year, and Dad, it was the first real tree I ever had, and I still remember it, and we decorated it that morning. But yeah, Dad had gone out and bought, I guess it was like the last tree left. Bought some ornaments and decorations, and we decorated the tree that morning.
I'm gonna need you to start putting timestamps on these years of yours.
I don't remember what year that was. I just know that was in Texas.
Yeah. Because that's the only time I can remember. Like, there are like a few times where I didn't live at home while I was going to school. The one time was during that year where I was working 3 jobs and was going to school full time, and that's the particular school that I went to. DeVry University didn't have any real thing any like off time. And then another time where I was just like, I didn't want to live at home, so I stayed with I slept on the couch of another person, and that was like a total mistake. That's a story for a different time. Okay. Well, crap. Let's see. The only real I thought I had some. I really did. But the only one that I can recall is the one where is that Christmas tree on Guam. And the only other few that I can remember are the times where we had to stay in hotels. There were a few times where our Christmas was spent at hotels. And that was because we were either moving during those times, or like our something like our house, how like internet went down, not internet, but like electricity went down and we couldn't get it up or something like that. We had to go stay in a hotel. So I remember us having to stay at a couple hotels. I think one time was in Spain. Like we had to stay in a hotel for Christmas, I want to say. But I can't recall. But I know for a couple holidays we've had to.
I know we might have when we took the trip to Italy.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, I know I was also the one that suggested this topic, but I'm pretty sure like I was also just thinking about that one tree. Oh man, this is terrible. Okay, let me be completely honest. I have a lot of my years missing. 100%. Just a lot of my years are gone. I can't remember a lot of my childhood. I can't remember a lot of my teen years. I'm sure there's some psychological reason for that.
Then we share, because big chunks of time missed for me too.
Yeah, so I'm just like, a lot of my years are just missing. So I do remember that for like one of our holidays, we went to Italy. Rome, right? Rome, and we saw like the Vatican, and like that was if the memory that popped up for you is the same that popped up for me.
That involves mom.
Yeah, both of them were about mom. There are two things that really come to mind about that particular trip. So the first is seeing the Sistine Chapel. And you know how there's, DJ put an image of that of like that very famous painting that's done. It's on the ceiling. Okay. It's on the ceiling. And our mom walked right through that room. And when we got to the other side and we were at the gift shop, she was like, "Where was that painting at?" And we went,
No, it's worse than that, Becca.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason she realized that she missed it was because I pointed at that 1,000-piece puzzle.
Right. You didn't let me finish my side of the story. We were looking at it and we saw this puzzle. And I was like, she was like, "Where was this painting at?" And we were like, it was in this room. And like, why do you think everybody was staring up at the ceiling? And she's like, "Oh, I was so confused. I didn't know why everybody was looking up." And we're like, because the creation of man was up there.
We tried to get her to stop, but so Dad doesn't like crowds, and that room is just basically a big crowd of people standing there looking up.
Yeah.
And so Mom, in her, "Oh, this is nothing. There's nothing here. Let's go. Let's go." We get to the thing, and I look down, and I see the puzzle, and I'm like, "Mom, let's get this." She's like, "Is that here? Where was that?"
Yeah. Yeah. So the next thing about our trip to the Vatican is you have two ways. They give you two options. You can take the stairs or you can take the elevator. What they failed to tell you is how many stairs there are to climb. So she climbed up, and she was not very happy.
We got like halfway up, and she's like, "This is so ridiculous. Why didn't they tell us?" And I'm pretty sure Dad tried to convince her to take the elevator.
I don't know. And like even further there you can keep going up this like spire and you'll get to like the top of the spire. The thing that shook me about that whole experience is that there was that gift that gift
store
on top of the fucking roof. There was a gift shop on top of the roof of the Vatican.
Yeah.
And I was just standing there like, nah, no way. And you could buy beer there. A gift shop that sold beer on top of the Vatican, because you were gonna need it after that fucking climb. And so, like, you and I were rather spry. We were still in our teens, and we were like, all right, time to go down. And so we just were like, down the steps we go. And Mom was like, nah. It's like the people that saw her coming down were like, would you like to take the elevator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of memorable things about that trip. We had the worst Italian food we'd ever had.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
In
Italy, yeah.
Yeah. It was this little, like, off the beaten path, hole in the wall place. And it was super expensive.
Yeah. There was that time that we thought we were all gonna die because Mom was fighting those people that were like,
who tried to pickpocket Dad.
Yeah, that were like pickpockets, like very clearly, like this is what they did for a living, because they were hiding. They were standing over in this little area that was all construction, and there's these walls that go up. You know how construction is sometimes. So it'll be like these walls, and then they like these hidden corners that you have to go around to pop back out into civilization. So we're like, oh crap, we gotta get around this. And Mom was just like bodied this one lady, and we're like, we're gonna die. Like, this is how we die.
Dad was leading the way. And Dad's leading the way, and he sees the women first because he'd come around the corner first, and he moved his hands into his pocket to keep everything covered. And then when Mom turns the corner, she just sees the lady reaching and goes, boom, and starts yelling at her in Spanish, and the lady starts yelling back in Italian as we're just like walking away.
We're just like, we're gonna die. This is it. This is just gonna read in the newspapers, foreigners die.
There's also, dude, Dad's whistle on the bus.
I don't
Do you remember that? We had taken a bus to get to one of the stops, and there were so many people packed on that when we got to our stop, Mom was able to get off, but the rest of us were stuck on board. And the guy starts driving off, and Dad just whistles. And the guy hits the brakes, the entire bus stops and looks at us. And they just see this tall white man go, we need off the bus. And they like parted like the sea.
So nope. Another memorable trips while we lived in Europe. Well, I guess we'll just like transition to like we don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. It turns out. Memorable trips we've had. Portugal. We did a couple trips. Times. Yeah. One of the things I remember is going to the ends of the earth. Do you remember that? Yeah. So there's a what do they call it? It starts with a P.
Peninsula,
right? A peninsula that's got the ruins of. Turns out, no. It turns out, if I go and do reading and spelling and working with kids, my brain is shot by the time I get over here. No, there's like an old battle station, like an old fort, an old fort. That's what it's called, an old fort there, and it was at like the furthest peninsula of Europe, of the European continent, and it was often referred to as the end of the world because that was the furthest point there was. So. And I remember I was standing there and I looked down and it's a sheer drop. Like you fall off that thing, when your body hits it, it's like getting hits the water. It's like being hit with a car going 90 miles an hour.
It's hitting concrete.
Yeah, it's like hitting concrete. And I look over, and there's just like on the edge of the cliff a whole bunch of fishermen just like casting their line out and fishing. And I'm just like, really? At any point, these mofos could just like get tugged off or like fall over and certain death all for like a fish, you know? Just watching them do their thing, and it was just so funny. I was like the ends of the earth, and there are the fishermen. It was so funny. And the other thing we saw that time was the like world sand building competition.
Yeah. Those were amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like sand sculptures, like, dude.
Yeah. That's also the day that we came back. Last time we were talking about I think 2 episodes ago we were talking about a family, an old woman and a man that we had come across on our way back from Portugal. That trip is when we came across them. So yeah, we saw that. We've been to Gibraltar.
The monkeys.
The monkeys were something. There's like old fort that's also there. It was cold, kind of creepy. And on clear days, huh?
The McDonald's is just like in the middle of a square.
Huh?
It's like a McDonald's, I think, isn't like in the middle of the square.
Maybe. I don't remember that. But I do remember, like, on clear days, you could see Morocco from Gibraltar. And actually, like, to get to Morocco, you had to take a ferry from Gibraltar to Morocco, which we did do.
No, we didn't. You didn't have to take it from Gibraltar.
Because I thought you did.
No, it's a similar area that you shoot off from the ferry to go to Gibraltar.
Oh, okay. But I do know that you could see Morocco,
yes.
Gibraltar from Morocco, yeah.
Yes.
And so there was this idea that a lot of the monkeys that were at Gibraltar came under, like, from either a land bridge or, like, there was, like, some undiscovered tunnel that was between Morocco and Gibraltar that people hadn't found yet.
Yeah. Because where you catch the ferry to go from Spain to Morocco is also the point where the Atlantic Ocean meets that sea. What is that sea called? Geography, not my strong suit.
You think it would be.
But the sea right there, so like, and because the salt is different in both of them,
Mediterranean,
you can see the clear divide between the two. So like the ocean has like a brighter blue and the sea is a darker blue, and it's just like a clean line between the two.
Right. That trip to Morocco too was kind of weird.
You wanted a dagger so bad.
Huh?
You wanted a dagger so bad.
Yeah, I almost got one. I could have traded my hat for a dagger.
But Mom said no because it wouldn't get through customs.
It's true. And also it was a shitty looking dagger. Like, no offense to the guy that was trying to like trade me my hat for my dagger. But I ended up coming back with let me just grab it. But
so also, let me talk about the hat real quick. The hat that the guy wanted to trade for. It was a very cheap, one of those free hats you get at any event for Coca-Cola, which is why the guy wanted to trade for it so bad. He was so insistent on it because it's a big brand and he could have sold that for a lot more than what he could have gotten for the dagger otherwise. So that's why he was really insistent on trying to get Becca to switch with the dagger. in the hat. We had a few people approach us, I think, over the day about the hats, wanting to switch them. And they take pretty much any currency they could over there. US dollar, euros, they didn't care. They're like, it's tender, I can use it. So it was interesting. And also, don't hold change out in your hand because they will swoop in, grab it, and then leave you something, which was nice. They leave you something.
I bought a few things, but I can't find the other things that I bought. They're like these smooth, like rock pyramids and things, but like this is the biggest buy that I have. It's just like this really old and gaudy like water thing. Just decoration. So I got that. And a couple other... Huh?
We came with a lot of spices too. Mom got a lot of spices.
Yeah. And all the bracelets, jewelries that we got are broken by now.
Yeah.
They're kind of cheap stuff because they knew that, just tourism, like touristy things that you could just get from these people. So they weren't of the highest quality. They were just stuff that they could just quickly hawk for whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it was a fun trip.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see the handmade rugs that they're famous for. Which were gorgeous. And, had like an authentic Moroccan meal.
Yeah, I discovered I did not like couscous.
Couscous.
Yeah, did not like it. What else? What was another? We were at Barcelona. We went to Barcelona.
We did that with the youth center.
Yes, I thought we went once with Mom and Dad.
No, we went with them to Madrid.
Okay. Yeah. Can't keep straight.
But we took the train with the youth center to Barcelona.
Mm-hmm. We saw a lot of the Gaudi made stuff. Yeah. So the park, the cathedral that is still being made.
Sagrada Familia.
Yeah, that's still being made. I think it's like the timeline at the time we had gone, which was about 2008. They said it was supposed to be finished in 2020. No, I'm sorry, 2021. That's when they said it was supposed to be done. 2021, we got to see the Dragon Scale house.
There was that one house with the mask as the balconies.
No, it's the one with like a whole bunch.
Yes, that one too. But also we saw that house with the mask as the balconies.
I don't remember seeing that. I must have zoned out for a second.
There was a lot. We were on a bus and they were just like there.
Yeah. We're just like, okay. We did go to Madrid, but I cannot remember anything of Madrid. Mostly because, like, when we got there, Madrid just felt like New York to us.
Yeah.
And even people would compare it to, like, the New York of Spain.
Yeah. I think the only thing I remember is, did we do a hibachi grill in Madrid?
How if I remember? I just said I don't remember.
I think we did a hibachi grill, and that's probably all I think I remember.
And then there were like the places that were close by that we went to: Cordoba, Sevilla, Cadiz, Rota. We lived in Porto, so of course we saw a lot of Porto.
And Mom took us when the day we saw Dad get drunk.
Yeah, that was we saw that
a tour of a winery and a flamenco show. Yep.
Dio Pepe. I remember that
Becca
because
wanted
that was
to
also
try out
the first time I got drunk too.
Yeah. Becca wanted to
So
try all these things.
Yeah, Tio Pepe was a brandy place. They made a lot of brandy. They made sherry as well, but they were also known for their brandy. And that was some good stuff. So Dad and I were like, he would drink, we were both sharing the same thing. He would drink the majority of the brandy, and then I would drink, we would taste test. He would drink some, I would drink a little bit of it. And so he drank the majority of, of the samples.
Because he didn't want you getting too drunk.
Yeah.
And he got drunk instead.
Yeah, and then of course we went and saw a really like one of the most famous places for flamenco. It was really great. So yeah, so those are some of our childhood and teenhood stories of places we went to for holidays.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be way more it was supposed to be way more interesting. I was thinking all this time, I was like, what like holiday stories do I have? What do I have? And all I kept coming up with was like that Christmas tree one, and I was like, surely I remember, like DJ doesn't remember this. Fucking you did.
It's one of the two Christmases, and both of my favorite Christmas memories revolve around the tree.
Yeah, oh my gosh. A lot of our stuff we either spent holidays in, like I said, in hotel rooms, or we took them to visit family, and like,
which that's one thing. We always, when we lived in Wisconsin, we would always drive down to see Grandma and Grandpa in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my favorite part of that drive was the cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, there was
like the size of your head.
There was a place on that drive that was somewhere between Wisconsin and Texas.
Really narrows it down there, right?
Yeah, no, it was like 4 or 5 hours out of Wisconsin, out of like Illinois, where that place popped up.
Yeah. I think we found it by mistake too. Like, we think we had gone the wrong way or something. I don't know. Because it was just like one of those things, we stopped by there because we were stopping for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the first time we had it, we were in this really hole in the wall. Mom was sleeping by the door, and we're on the other bed because she was like, dear God, don't touch anything.
I honestly don't remember. I don't remember.
If I'm remembering correctly, that was the first thing, and then there was this small little restaurant across the way that she went to go get us breakfast in the morning, and she came back with these giant cinnamon rolls. And then every time after that, we would stop there.
No, I don't remember.
Not for the hotel, the motel. We never stopped there again. But we would stop for the cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. So we're about 30 minutes into this.
39 minutes.
So I guess we'll just switch over to something that will hopefully save my ass. Christmas movies.
Yes. So let me start with getting back to that story before I forget, of the Christmas drop. So the reason I wanted to push this is because one of the Christmas movies I saw with Mom this year was Operation Christmas Drop on Netflix. And it's a real thing. It actually happens, and it happens out of Guam. It happens off of the Air Force Base, not the Navy base where we were. But Mom got to be involved in it one year. And she only got to do it the 1 year because the next year she started being the ombudsman. But it's a huge military effort of dropping off supplies to the hundreds of islands out there. That's really cool. So that was a good, kind of a cool movie to watch because, one, we lived on that island, and two, Mom revealed that she had gotten to be a part of that. So.
Okay, what's that movie about?
Oh, it's literally about the drop. Like the movie's lady from DC goes in to Guam to like find out about the Christmas drop and if the senator that she works for wants to close it down.
Oh, okay.
She's like, no, we can't. It's a huge effort and it's Christmas and they're not using any military funding for it. It's all based on donations and the actual flying of the planes is done technically, yes, by military personnel and on military time, but it's also a good practice run for them to do stuff because they're dropping supplies off. It's a good run. Like the furthest island out is like 11 hours away, so it's a good practice for them.
Okay. I know I mentioned this during our recommendation movies, but this is still a good like one of my favorite in the recent decade. The Rise of the Guardians.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, Rise of the Guardians is still one of my favorite movies. I just love what they do with Jack Frost. I love the whole how Christmas and the spirit of all of that just comes together. Like that's one of my favorites. Another one, I'm gonna steal this one too. Another one that I also really like is the Polar Express. It kind of rubs up. I understand why people are kind of like creeped out about it because it kind of rubs up against that Uncanny Valley feel. You know? And I saw a TikTok on it. This person's like holding up a bell and he's ringing. And he's like, "They gave me this busted bell." Like everybody in the comments was acting all super elitist. It was so funny.
Just had to come to TikTok to complain because I got a bell. All right, I got this really nice bell, but guess what? Nothing. It's dead quiet. What the hell is this? They sold me a bell that doesn't even work.
And I can't hear a thing. So dumb. But I think it's like Tom Hanks is in it and he does a wonderful job. And I think probably a testament to like how annoying this kid is. Like one of the kids in it is super annoying. I'm just like, stop. Stop the entire time he talks. I'm like, no, just don't even open your mouth anymore.
Fair. I mean, I gave the recommendation of doing the Netflix cinematic universe.
Yes, I sent you the thingy, didn't I?
Yes, you did send me
that breaks it all down.
Yeah,
Here's
Becca
that
sent me a TikTok. So here you go.
I only have a minute, so here we go. The Netflix Christmas Cinematic Universe. First, we have the Christmas Prince, which gave us the country of Aldovia, run by Amber and Richard. And then in the Royal Baby, it gave us the country of Panglia, run by Ming and Tai. The Princess Switch gave us the country of Belgravia, with Princess Stacy and Prince Edward. Anybody underlined is played by Vanessa Hudgens, just FYI. It also gave us the country of Montanaro, with Lady Fiona, Queen Margaret, and Kevin. Lastly, The Night Before Christmas gave us the country of England, or just confirm that that's a real country in this universe, with Sir Cole and Brooke. Now on to the connections. Margaret and Kevin watch A Christmas Prince in their first movie, but since it's also a real couple, we can only assume that it's like a Lifetime version of their movie, like the William and Kate movie. Secondly, Brooke has an acorn ornament that her mom got in Aldovia that is also featured in A Christmas Prince or whatever. This confirms for Vanessa Hudgens in this universe. We won't talk about it. Anyway, and then Queen Ming talks about how Princess Stacy is married into the Belgravian royal family. And lastly, the coronation, the thing that put two of these movies in the same place at the same time, officially launching the NCCU. Thank you.
Make sure we can download it.
Home Alone, you know, it's a classic. I like that one. And it's hard because we just did a recommended movie. And I said a lot of Christmas ones in there. So I'm trying to think of
Okay, a
ones.
classic one is the original Jack Frost. If you haven't seen that, like that came on with the ABC 25 Days of Christmas. Growing up, we used to watch those a lot. Jack Frost, that was one of my favorite ones to watch.
Jingle Jangle, Jingle All the Way.
Which one?
Jingle Jangle, yes, is one definitely. It's a new. That one came out this year.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Jingle All the Way. I
Um.
believe that's what it's called.
Yes. That one.
There's a two? There's a two. Yeah.
Dear God. Santa Claus. That trilogy with
What? How did you feel about that last one, though?
Yeah.
It's just-
Like with a lot of trilogies, sometimes that last one can get away from you.
Like, I was okay with trying to get, like, the Mrs. Claus part and all that. Like, I was okay with that, but really, Jack Frost.
Yeah. But you know. Oh, and Mr. Iceman and Fire Guy. Oh my God, the brothers. Fire Miser.
It has a name.
Fire Miser
like-
and Snow Miser.
When Santa's not there that year or something like that.
Yes. Oh my God. What movie is
Man, we are really
The Year
shining.
Without Santa Claus?
We are really shining this episode.
You want to go back to the random word generator?
No, no.
So yeah, The Year Without Santa Claus, and that's a good classic, along with Rudolph and the original Grinch. I haven't seen the new Grinch, but the original Grinch with Jim Carrey.
That's not the original Grinch. The
Oh,
original
sorry.
Grinch is
Both the original animated one and the live action one.
yes, but I have heard that the newer one. Which one are you talking about? The one that has the one with Cumberbatch.
The one that just came out, that's Grinch.
Usually, there's another one that's out. That has the guy from.
Yes, Benedict
Glee?
Cumberbatch is the new one that just came out.
Isn't there
In
one that
2020.
just came out with the guy from Glee?
In the musical.
Okay, so that's the one I've been seeing
Are
people
you-
go, no, over. He apparently used the Joaquin's Joker as inspiration for his Grinch portrayal.
Oof. I'm just looking at the thumbnails for these videos and it creeps me out. But no, not that one. No. No, not that one. Not that one. The other ones. Any of the other ones. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's a classic. The Grinch with Jim Carrey. It's a classic. I don't know if the 2018 one's a classic, but that one over the other one.
A Christmas Story?
Christmas Story. Scrooge, I think, on Netflix is new. Apparently it's fantastic. I've yet to see it, but apparently it's really, really good too.
Yeah, A Christmas Story is a classic. A classic.
And if you can find it, the play that goes wrong. Wrong Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol goes wrong. If you can find that one, that is hilarious. The play that goes wrong is one of my favorite Broadway plays. And they do A Christmas Carol and Peter Pan. And both of those are hilarious.
Where would you be able to watch it?
If you have a subscription to Broadway HD, it looks like you can watch it there.
It's on... It is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but you have to have the Broadway HD. But it does give you a 7-day free trial, so definitely recommend doing that free trial and watching it. Because that was a really good one. It's 49 minutes. It's just so ridiculous. It's great.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, the old favorite, Evertime classic, The Muppets Christmas Carol. I can't think, I can't think of any other recommendations that I haven't given from last time for Christmas movies.
What's the one with, it's on Netflix. Can you send me the Netflix password?
Give me a sec. I have to get onto Facebook to do it. I'm using my phone still as a webcam, so I can't text you there. It should still be this.
It's the Russell what his face.
It's not letting me log in like that. So then no, Mom changed the password and I don't remember what it is.
Well, she's just going to tell me to talk to you.
That's not helpful. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Anyways, so this whole part get deleted. But anyways, so Russell wasn't it Russell Christmas Chronicles?
Oh,
Christmas
yes. There's
Russell Crowe.
Yes,
Christmas
there's
Chronicles.
2. And yes,
I've only seen the first one. The first one was surprisingly good.
the second one's okay. The first one's awesome, and I gotta say, I love the costume design for Santa in that one.
For the first one?
He has the same design in the second one, so.
Okay. So, yeah, I was surprised. Like, I watched it. I was cautious. I was like, really, Russell Crowe? Because I saw his, he did The Miserable, he did that. And I was like, eh. But then I saw this, and he sold it. Like, and while he's there's like a scene where he's in jail, and like he does like a full-on rock number.
Oh my God,
sold.
it's brilliant.
Sold.
Yeah. That one was really good. And I mentioned it briefly earlier, but Jingle Jangle is out this year. It's also a really good show to watch. Again, costume design in that is beautiful.
Okay. So I want to take a couple seconds now to talk about something we haven't talked about in a while, because I think this might blow your mind, Deej. So I'm going to talk about the Belladonna. I'm going to talk about Belladonna. I'm going to talk about Project Evil. We haven't talked about it in like ages. So one of the reasons why we've been having such a hard time with our podcast is because originally we started our podcast with the idea of documenting Project Evil. And because we haven't been doing a lot of things with Project Evil, we haven't been talking about our documentation. So I wanted to talk to you a bit about Project Evil and tell you something that actually might have helped me break a little bit of my I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here kind of thing.
Okay.
2 episodes ago, we were talking about fan fiction. In particular, we were talking about one particular fan fiction we didn't like.
Okay.
Insert fic. Do you know what kind of game we're making?
Yes.
An insert fic.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Huh?
I'm aware. That's it.
I went, oh. like it struck me and I went, oh, but this thought hit me. Not about the whole insert fic. Like I was trying to figure out how am I gonna write this? Where am I writing from? At what point of view was I writing from? Because originally I was gonna start writing from Skylar's point of view, and that's not a bad place to write it, but I was writing it in a weird way. And I wish I could show it to you guys, but I haven't put it down on in document format. So a few weeks ago, I had downloaded Need for Speed. And if you yeah, most random thing. Need for Speed is a car game, and it's what it sounds like. It's you play as a speed racer, and you can
You have a
modify
need
your own
for speed.
You can modify your car in any sort of way. It gets really in depth on the whole modification of a car. But the entire time, like straight from the get-go, when you walk in, with your character, when it literally opens up, character comes to like this spinning stop, and this dude's like, yo man, and it's all first person view, and the guy's like, yo man, so good to see you, right? And this isn't like done from the point of view like if I was playing Destiny 2, as in like, you are the guardian, you were completely a no-face character in this. And I was like, oh, this is exactly the writing style I was looking for for a game. Like I couldn't, using like the Destiny style wasn't really helping, and I couldn't really model after that. So the Need for Speed and then talking about insert flicks was like so if you're wondering where some of this inspirations for some of our stuff is coming from,
Random shit.
this Need for Speed and insert fanfic was kind of the stuff that helped break my whatever block I was having, creation block I was having for our thing. So I managed to start breaking the stuff down. And like I said, we don't want our game to be any more than 30 or 40 minutes. 40 minutes pushing. 40 minutes is pushing. Like that's max. 30 minutes is minimum. Right? Max is 40, 30 minutes is minimum. And so I was breaking it down. Like each option has like 2 endings. That's what we wanted. 2 endings. One where you fail, one where you succeed. That's it. 2 endings. No more than that on any of the options that we give you. I was going with 4 options, but who knows? DJ and I haven't really had a chance to sit down and do brainstorming. So I had selected 4 heist options that we could go with. 2 of them, and depending on how we go from there, then it's a breakdown of like what do we worry about? How can I blend these in together so that we, as the both of us, knowing what our limitations are, can still build the most without having to worry about the resources that we have, right? Building the most with the least that we have, right? And so that's kind of where we're at right now. So in case you're wondering, hey, what's happening with Project Evil? This is where we're at.
Oh, I will say, so I kind of decided to lean into the fact that my computer is under my bed, and Selvin just has a whole bunch of cubicles that are stacked, that are, this high for each of their people. So when I have like the set dressing, like there's gonna be like those office signs that I'm creating, or like some of them are going to be hanging from here, some of them are going to be back against the wall. Mm-hmm. But so slowly I'm figuring out all the set pieces and how I'm going to film each of those.
Right, the staging.
Yeah.
So we're like working on it, but we're also like limited, and because we're limited and we don't have like we're constantly rearranging what we're doing. So
we have a very small micro budget.
Yeah.
And very finite resources.
Yeah. So anyways, that's where we're at. Just thought we'd give an update on it. In the last like few minutes of this, I don't know what this episode is. It started out with one idea. I failed. It's so hard. But next year, we're gonna really be visiting like what we can do now that we're, we have an idea. Like this is episode 20. This particular thing, this is episode 20, and it may not be our greatest episode. It's definitely not our worst episode. We've done our worst episode. So, but next year is a chance for us to like look, what do we really want to do with Halfwit Sisters? What, like, we definitely, I definitely want to take this on into the next year. I hope, yes. And so this gives us a chance to like say, what do we want to do with the Halfwit Sisters, and what kind of role is it going to be playing in our lives next year? So there's talk between me and her that has to happen, and that's where we're at.
But I do want to end this episode at, like Becca said, this is our 20th episode. Thank you for coming here with us, and we look forward to the next 20 and the 20 after that, and thank you.
Yeah, 100%. To the one person that has been viewing every single video, thank you. Thank you, especially to you, but also to everybody that comes and finds us on any of our social media channel. Like, I don't know if you pay attention to our views on TikTok, DJ, but we actually get a lot of views on TikTok.
I haven't been, but yeah.
Yeah, we actually get a lot of views. Surprisingly, we get a lot of views on TikTok that don't necessarily translate. In the way that marketing speak talks, it's like, well, just because you get a lot of view doesn't really translate into anything else. And, there's a lot of truth in that. But also, somebody's watching. Right?
Yep.
And that's a start. That's a big start.
And
just
even a fraction of them.
Just to get somebody to watch is huge. And that's where we're at. And we can work with that, Yeah. So, am I heartbroken that we don't get, we didn't open up on like 1,000 followers and 6 million views. No, I'm not. Because we didn't know what this podcast was going to be. Like, very clearly, like, definitely over these last 10 episodes, we had no idea what we were going to do. Like, even when we talked to each other the day before, we're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad we didn't just have like this blow up of followers and engagement, because a lot of the people that I see that just go viral over one video just don't know where to go from there. Mm-hmm. They had no thought to be a content creator, so they didn't know where to go. We have thoughts that we are content creators. And we have places to go. We might struggle to think of topics every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But we are still creating things. And we're still working on the stuff that we've talked about.
I think it's also important for us to point out, and this is probably something we'll end up talking more on in like our New Year's episode. But I think it's also important to point out that we're not thinking just about Project Evil anymore. That's not our end all anymore. Between the both of us, like, I started working on my Patreon again and some other projects of mine again, right? So Project Evil is there, but it's not our end all be all. And we have other projects between the two of us that we want to do together. Yeah. So you'll be hearing a lot more of that. So so our podcast has always been dedicated to talking about projects that we're working on. And I think we'll starting next year, making sure that we add that back into the podcast. And, whatever project DJ is working on, whatever project I'm working on, and even what we're working on together, that will start being added back in. It's just these last few months, we hadn't really had that thought. Like, where do we go? Because things were in flux. But now we're kind of getting a settle. We're settling down. We're figuring out.
We're understanding what our schedules are and being able to work with them to create things. Like, I know now that on days that I'm working, I'm done at 2:30. I can start working on stuff right then and there. I already have my computer out. I already have a lot of my setup out that I can just start working with. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I don't have. Hold on, let me just. It's currently open, but my closet over there, I usually have the green screen up in front of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like ready to start working, and this has given me the confidence to be able to do a lot of that work that I haven't been able to do before.
Right. So as far as like our podcast, we'll be adding back what was the original meaning of why we started this. So here's what we want to see.
What is your favorite Christmas memory?
Yes, what's your favorite Christmas memory? And what's your favorite Christmas movie? We'd love to hear them. So drop them down in the comment section below, and we will see you next time.
You know what to do. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Bye!
Bye!